So today, we are welcoming a very special guest, and I'd love to introduce him.
Hey, how's it going, Ann?
Hello, Darren. Hello in Adelaide, Australia.
How are you? Everything well? It's been a long time, and you and I have been friends for a long time on both tours. So great to see you again.
It's absolutely wonderful to be reunited on this Zoom All Access. And yes, we go way, way back. And it was so much fun to prepare for this because I learned even more about your very interesting career path and life. So I'm thrilled to have you as our guest, and thank you again.
That's my pleasure.
I think everyone knows of our guest Darren Cahill, but just a little bit of background before we get started with all kinds of questions. Darren is a proven expert and coach and tennis analyst who's always striving to find ways to improve individual players' performances and the success of the overall sport of tennis. Growing up in a successful sporting family and representing Australia in Davis Cup, the importance of a team culture was instilled and continues to inspire and guide others to achieve team and individual goals. Known amongst his peers as a strong strategist, hardworking, loyal, and passionate tennis supporter. So, Darren, thank you again for joining us.
And she was talking out loud as the tears were flowing. So I let her talk. I basically came out of that meeting going, all right, we need to find a way to get through this. And as a group, I made mistakes in the next 7 or 8 weeks for sure, because I think building great culture within a team is more important than showing great leadership. If you can build a great culture within a team, the leadership will follow. And my mistake was I tried to lead a little bit too strong. I kept to the positives. I'm like, come on, let's get back on the horse. You're playing great. You can still do this. You're a good enough player to be the number one player in the world. You're a good enough player to win these Grand Slams. We've got to keep fighting for this. And I didn't have that empathy with the suffering that she was going through, that I was basically pushing too hard. When she plays well, you're going to tell yourself, not today. When she gets fired up and looks in your direction and gives you a fist pump, you're going to shake your finger and say, not today. And to her credit, she did that in some of the toughest moments. So whilst my story is not a funny story about her, I think it goes to the resilience, the belief, the work ethic, everything that it takes to be a champion. That's what she had, and she put it all together on that particular day. Sometimes the message does get through, sometimes it doesn't. That's normal in sport, but I think as a coach, you've got to do your best to find ways to get that message through. And whether that's just walking through the front door and giving the message black and white, which I could do with Leighton for sure, or sometimes you need to find a side door or a trap door to deliver that message. And with Simone, you need to be thinking pretty quickly on your toes to get that message across. And she's been remarkable. I think they are the 5 traits of champions: is that work ethic, belief, purpose, resilience, and a team is 5 great traits to have. And obviously, there's always some good to come out of bad situations. And with the COVID-19 situation at the moment, with the restrictions that we have on sport and especially tennis, we here in South Australia actually ran a UTR event. It's the first one in Australia for 44 kids over 3 locations here in South Australia. And all the kids got to play matches against other UTR ranked players, and it actually counts for their ranking. So even though we don't have pro events for the ATP and the WTA going at the moment, we do have UTR events which count, which are serious. I can tell you, every parent and every kid that played, all 44 of them that played in this event here in South Australia over the weekend, it was on. and they were playing for something, and they're playing for a UTR ranking that's going to increase their chances of either going pro or going to a US college or going to Europe and playing the Challenger Series or whatever they want to do, whatever path they want to take to become a pro. These matches are incredibly important. And with all the clubs, local clubs all over the world, with the UTR having this setup, it gives an opportunity to have proper matches where players are playing for something in a controlled environment. in a time like this, and I think it's a great opportunity for UTR. Bit of a UTR plug there, right? Yeah, I've actually signed up to be the Tennis Australia ambassador for UTR. So that's a little bit of news that I'm not sure that has come out as yet. So there you go. And I'm really proud to do that because I'm a big believer in UTR. And as you know, I've lived with UTR for the last 10 or so years, and it's been really important in our family. And I know how important it can be in other families. But Tennis Australia is looking at rolling out a lot of these types of events that we did last weekend and here in South Australia, throughout all of Australia, as these social distancing restrictions start to relax a little bit. And I think you'll see, and to be honest, I don't think there's going to be any ATP or WTA events for the rest of this year. Fingers crossed, tennis will come back. But because of the travel restrictions in a lot of the countries, it's so difficult to make that happen. So I think you're going to find that a lot of these UTR events throughout Australia and the rest of the world is going to be the way tennis is going to go in the near future. And I think it's a great opportunity to build a lot of that competition that players need through this period. Because as you know, it's been a long time that we've had without any real sport or any real competition in tennis, and players need it to keep their games in order. So this is a great thing. The other thing also, EQ versus IQ. We talk about tennis IQ a lot, but the emotional quotient now is really important. And that's where a coach, I mentioned that little story about myself not having that empathy for what Simona was going through after she lost that French Open final. A coach has to be on that, and you have to get attached to the emotional side of the game and to be able to feel what your player is going through and address that as quickly as possible. So that's really important for a coach. So I think they're the 10 steps I think that I've learned over the last 20, 25 years to becoming a decent coach. Build the culture, EQ versus IQ, the planning, communication, evolving, seek help, coach through the player's eyes, listen to your player, take a back seat, and love what you do. So hopefully that helps.